Hey!
Hey, Jeff.
Look at you! Hey, look what I got on, buddy. Look at that. Before we do anything, listen. Before we do anything, everybody needs to know that the African
Wow.
guy is Wellington Oliech, and the white African is Dolly, his wife, who's from Abbotsford, right?
Yep,
You grew up in Abbotsford. You related to Jonathan Giesbrecht, which
that's
is
right. My cousin. And
shocking to me.
Kendra. I
But
know.
yeah, but listen, before we do anything else, Wellington,
Yo,
can I just say something to you?
please do.
You're a big Liverpool fan, right? I
Yep,
wore this
my
hat for
life.
you tonight. I just wore this hat for you. Listen, you're a Liverpool fan. This is the worst season in the history of my team, like forever. We've been
Yeah.
horrible. And then along comes this pandemic, and
Yeah.
the entire season is basically thrown out. You've been the best team in the world, and it doesn't even count. How's that? I love it.
I knew you'd say that. I
Yeah.
really knew you'd say that. But you know what? We're gonna take it. There is
No, you're
no
not going to take
doubt about it.
anything.
Oh
They're
yeah,
going
we
to
will.
they're gonna call it null and void.
No,
Oh,
they
it's so
can't.
good. Oh, it's so good. How are you guys?
We're good.
It's you need to tell everybody what time it is where you
It's
are.
6:30 in the morning,
Oh,
Wednesday.
oh my
We
word.
were going to be outside, but it's still dark.
But
So
you woke up for us.
we did.
Right.
That's it.
I'm leaving the comments on just because people like to ask questions and stuff, and we used to
Yeah.
shut them off until the end, but we just leave them on, and unless somebody gets rowdy, we're okay. Also have my hat on because this is like I got the COVID hair at this point. Seriously, it's like really bad, right? At this
Oh my
point,
goodness, it's bad.
it is bad. It's horrible. Um, anyway, can you just tell people, for those folks who are tuning in and don't know you that well, can you let them know who you are, where you are in Africa, and what you're doing there?
Well, Dolly and I were called 5 years, just over 5 years ago, and
It's 7 years
oh,
already.
it's 7 years, okay. All right. Yeah, that's why she's here.
That's
And
among other
and
reasons.
and one of the things that really happened, Jeff, is as a result of a lot of preaching from the Book of Acts and just calling us out to go and share the gospel. We felt God calling us while we were sitting in the pews at Northview, and just calling us and allowing us to think through coming and serving. We were not so sure when, where, and stuff like that. But as things turned out, your preaching on Sunday and on Saturday evening is why we are here.
See,
We
you're not
heard we
supposed
heard
to
God's
listen.
call.
You can listen to it and nod, but you're not supposed to do something with it, Wellington.
Yeah,
Right? I
right.
mean,
That what's the reason for
I know.
being in the pew there?
So
So
you've gone back. You're not
yes.
Uganda. You're living in Uganda now, but you're not Ugandan.
No, I'm Kenyan. I'm
Yeah.
Kenyan. And that's the interesting part that um, I'm just a close, I'm a neighbor. We're just neighbors there. But God called us to Uganda to work with the pastors, to plant a church. And the reason why we planted this church is threefold. First of all, we have a Bible school here that needed a chaplain. We had a community that was awash with health and wealth, prosperity, gospel stuff. So it was so important for us to really, again, reel in on those kind of teachings. And therefore, expository teaching was so key
Mm.
for us here. And then, of course, thirdly, we also had staff that are really living around here that wouldn't go to Kampala. It's very far. So they needed to also have some kind of a church that they would be there. But there was also another reason. We were also called to work with pastors in the region. So not just, the local congregation we have here. And in the last 1.5 year or so, that has really now been my focus, working and just hanging out with these pastors And that's why we're here. Yeah.
So we have 3 kids, 3 teenagers,
Yeah.
two 17-year-olds about to graduate, Lord willing, if it can still happen, and
How
a
far along are
13-year-old.
they in their school year?
They're supposed to be done.
Oh, okay.
So they're just waiting. We do a British curriculum called Cambridge. They're supposed to do exams which were canceled
Oh dear.
worldwide. So they're looking at other possibilities. I think the examination board is looking at different ways to gather marks for them. We'll see how that works yet. They'll still finish, they'll still graduate. It just will look different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it will. So, tell me, in Uganda, I mean, the ministry that you're doing is
mhm.
not happening so much now because of all the pandemic, right? And
We can't even drive out of our property. We're
so is
not allowed to drive.
that's the law that nobody's allowed to go anywhere?
No private vehicles allowed unless you have a medical emergency, which you need to get a letter stamped from your local um, government office saying you can drive out. So it's not easy,
So you're stuck on the property.
pretty much.
Wow. So
We're eating a lot of rice and beans.
there you go.
Oh,
Wellington,
I have really learned how to cook rice and beans.
I bet you're really
No
good at it.
doubt.
So Welly, how does that affect? I mean, you tell people what it's like in Uganda. What kind is the socioeconomic? Like there's a lot of poverty, or is it
Yeah.
not quite as bad? And then how are the people who might be, have less money? How are they dealing with this particular challenge?
Well, one thing I can say, Uganda is blessed with food. So when it comes to food, I would say that it's not, it's very cheap here. So people can actually go out and buy food, a good amount of food for maybe $1 or something. And that would really give them some kind of good meal
If they
for
have
that
money,
day,
Will.
if they have money, of
Yeah.
course. But, you know, generally, this is a very poor country. And it's a country that really depends on a lot of factors to really get it going. And so right now, during this time, there's a lot of slowdown. People are not working so much, and so right now we have even cases. And I was having a case of another pastor that we have a Zoom contact with, telling us that people are knocking in their doors and they wanted to break in because they did not have food.
Oh, wow.
I've had cases of people crying, children and their mothers crying, because there is no food. They cannot get out. You know, we have this, what we call the border guys. It's a bicycle team of guys who drive people around. They also cannot move. Just recently, their moving time was upped. But even with that, there is still a lot of hue and cry right now. I think we are such a close-knit family, so this thing has really hit us so hard. We are a community. We love hanging out with one another. We cannot do that anymore. Mm-hmm. The pastors are really struggling. Last week, I was in touch with about 20 pastors, and they were telling me, it's hard. The first 2 weeks it was easy to really, hunker down and take it easy. But third week, there is no money. The money is not coming in. The money is not coming to the church.
Offerings, right?
There are no
Right.
offering.
Right.
And so in fact they were calling and say, Pastor, what do we do?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I have been doing is preparing sermons in the morning. And then I send it to them, and then I said, would you share with this for them for the week?
Yeah.
So, and I have some questions there that I'm asking them. So they have now this, so we have what we call virtual pastoral work going on. Mm-hmm. And that is probably what we are doing right now with them. I have about 20 pastors in this region called Kayunga. And then there is also local pastors. We call them our Jerusalem pastors within here. So we get to have these things going on for them, but it is not easy. There is a lot of struggles for the pastors especially. And if you are a pastor who preaches health and wealth, it's even harder. Because now, where do you sell your
So
You know,
that is
oh,
the question I have. That in Uganda, in the biggest churches are like health and wealth prosperity churches.
yes.
Um, so like, how is that being affected? How are the people viewing all that, and what are those guys saying now in light of all this?
Well, right now you could hear a cricket cry out, and it's
Yeah.
silent.
Like we've told you about, I think this church that's across the valley that we can hear on the weekends with their loud preaching, where just create we it's been nice and quiet,
Oh yeah.
but they can't meet, right? So there are some situations where some of the bigger churches may be able to preach online. But having said that, the general community doesn't afford that, right? They get internet data for WhatsApp. That's about it.
Yeah.
Not to be streaming video constantly. So that is probably one of the challenges we have, even with the church here on the property, is we have to be intentional to call people and check on them and talk to them, because that's the only way we can connect with them.
In fact, it is even such that Dolly and I are actually also giving. They're calling us. We don't have data. We need to call. We need to do those kind of things. So Dolly and I are actually also extending what the Lord has graciously given us through Northview and other wonderful donors and supporters.
Yeah.
And some of this money, actually, we are also sending it to them. Say, go ahead, buy data,
Yeah.
fill it in, keep calling people, things like that. So we have to keep preaching.
Yes,
It
we
has to
do.
continue.
So what are the prospects in Uganda for, like, is this an indefinite situation, or have they said we're going to close down like they have for 2 weeks or a month or what?
Well, it's been closed down, like really without the driving, it has been 3 weeks already, at least 2 more to go, and we'll see from there. We have been fortunate enough to not have it spread out so much as we've seen in Western countries, actually. We don't know what that means. We don't know if we get to hear everything that goes on, but they've closed the borders before it got really bad. So nobody can even really fly in or out. So I think that has made a difference that they've done that earlier. So it's just a wait and see. We don't know.
Yeah, and Uganda actually is doing well. They have 55 cases that has been officially reported, and out of that, I think a good number of them have been discharged, and we've not had any case right now. So 55 has been going now for over a week right now,
That's good.
and we've not had anything going up. So that is good news. It also tells us that the president right now is going to relax certain things. And so we are looking forward to maybe next week and see where that goes.
When that happens, are you expecting to be able to go have churches reopen, or is that going to be something that they wait for a
Yes.
while?
So I think the biggest challenge is going to be allowing public transportation. This is a country that is just, public transport is the biggest thing. People don't have
cars
the way we
and
have.
so we can't get around everywhere, right? So I think that will be the first thing. Then they will see, I think education is a big thing. Schools have been closed since the 20th of March. So that's already a month.
Yeah.
So we don't know.
Yeah.
It may be, they may do I think the Ugandan government very closely watches what other countries are doing. And there's a lot of talk about putting in new mandates of distancing, even with social gatherings.
Masks.
So we'll see. We don't know.
And I think, our country, Kenya, has not helped so much, because while Uganda has really adhered to strict, social distancing and all these kind of things, and is doing well, Kenya, on the other hand, is still playing with fire. And so that is going to delay border openings, which means people like us cannot even go visit our parents back there.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
So, hi, Cecilia, by the way. She just said hello to you, Celestine. That's from Cecilia. She's in Brisbane, Australia, talking to you through Canada anyway.
That's awesome.
My question is, so first of all, everybody who's listening to this needs to realize that if we're going to be in prayer, it's very easy for us to get focused just on our own place. But, people in the two-thirds world are dealing with really challenging situations when it comes to this economically, and the church is like, they don't have the resources that we have to be able to, everyone streams our stuff on a Sunday morning or whatever, and people there don't have it. So if we're praying people, what would you advise us to pray? How would you advise us to pray? What can we pray for you and pray for others?
First of all, really thank God for the safety we've had so far. Again, in all these things, there has been less muggings and stuff like that. We've been safe. We've really been kept well, and I think God has been faithful in that sense. Things to pray for. God may give us wisdom on how to take our sharing the gospel to the next level. Because right now I'm sitting here and asking myself, is this it? Is it about just preparing the stuff? And it's okay to share that and move on. What else can I do? What can I do in the community? How can I move without being a nuisance to the government, of course? But, just doing things that are still going to allow me to connect with these people, because we love them. We love this community here. And so when they call out and they cry out and say, help us, our heart is broken, because we would easily do that, run to their homes, pray with them, and do all these kind of things. We cannot do that. And so wisdom on how to bring that about. Another thing is pray for us also, so that we may be able to understand what God is doing. And I think that sometimes we fail to see that. I think there's a reason why God has called us to this time, at this place, in this situation. And I think we need to learn and hear the voice of God. What is He actually saying to us? I mean, this is the most I've spent with my family, because I'm always traveling. I'm gone. Yeah. But here I am with Dolly. I see her face every day. And, she's teaching me new things, and I'm learning new things. I have my kids all the time, and they're telling me things that I didn't know. So wisdom to understand maybe there's the importance of family and relationships. And maybe this could become a way of us now sharing, and a new way of us living and actually teaching. I don't know if Dolly has something else.
Yeah, I think pray for especially my older kids, right? Because this is ending, 2020 is ending up being a year they wish that could start over, right?
Yeah.
Because 2020 is supposed to be a big year of celebration, graduation. And I know my kids are not the only ones. I've heard my friends talk about that with their own kids. A year of so many fun changes happening. Even we're supposed to come to furlough this summer. We don't know. We just don't know if we're going to be able to, when we can travel. So just that we would rest in God's will and be at peace with God's timing.
Dolly, have you been at all tempted to come back to Canada?
Well, I mean, it's interesting because I'm on a Facebook group with Canadian expats that live in Uganda. And so there's a lot of discussion about, do we leave? Do we go? There's no airplane. If we come together, maybe Canada would send an airplane. I don't know. Not right now. I've not felt like I need to go. I think the psychological thought of not being able to go whenever I want to is more the difficult part. Like if something were to happen to a family member in Canada, I can't go, right?
Yeah.
I can't go. But I have not felt the urge that I have to go, that I should get out of here. Not like that, no.
Good. So you're thankful for, Welly, what are you thankful for? You're thankful that you get to stick around with your family, or is that, do I need to talk to you later when she's not on the... I mean, we could ask her to just go in the other room for a minute, to be honest.
No, I love it. I love staying home because I really get to do some things that I normally don't do when I'm traveling and moving around.
Yeah.
But I'm more thankful because, I think this has also stopped a lot of thugs moving around. I mean, we would always hear people crying out in the villages. They are being mugged, their car is being stolen, there are things that are going on.
Oh yeah, because there's a 7 p.m. curfew. Hey, no one's allowed to be out after 7 p.m. And when the government gives a directive to the police, to the army, etc., they're pretty strict with enforcing things.
Yeah.
You don't
They're
want to
like,
be
all
caught
right,
out there.
here we go.
It's not
Yeah.
the same. There's a different level of enforcement here, I think, than in the Western world. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course, you know, Dolly loves her electricity and light, you know. So it has been much better this time. I think now the people who are working on the electrical stuff have enough time, enough room to drive around and fix things very quickly. So we are thankful that we can still have our power.
He says that because we get power outages very regularly.
Yeah, it's
here,
so
right?
regular, it's unbelievable. In fact, we are so surprised that it has really stayed this long, and we are thinking, you know, small things like this we take for granted. Like when we're back in Canada, we don't get these problems.
Yeah.
But here, you know, these are huge, and we still have to use that. So, but it has been good. God has been faithful. We have seen Him just protecting us in every direction and in every way. So, and then we are also thankful that we understand that these hard times, people are struggling how to, you know, I see the giving going on every Sunday. We are so connected with you on Sundays. We listen to you like crazy, you know, but
I'm sorry.
people are, yeah, you know, but people do not have the means that they used to have before. So for us to still be here and still not hear a supporter saying, I'm sorry, I'm going to drop you, is something to really thank God for.
Yeah.
In this hard time. So I don't want to take it for granted that, you know, we are here. And so it really tells us that we are here and God wants us here for this period and now.
Well, we thank God for you guys. You know that, right? You're very much on our minds. You're not just far away, and when you come back, we're like, oh yeah, you guys exist. But we think about you often, and it's so great to see your faces. Very much so. I want to actually open it up to anybody who might have a question for Dolly and Welly. I'll keep talking to them about stupid stuff until there's a substantive question.
Well, you know what's interesting, Jeff? What's interesting? Stop it. You know what's interesting is that, I mean, I love my personal space. I am more of an introvert. I love being at home, but even I miss being with people.
I bet.
I don't know if you understand what I mean.
I do. I do, actually. I don't usually mind being away from people too. But yeah, I've noticed that I want to be around folks. I actually get excited when I know I have to go do something at the church where I am going to be physically distanced from people, but if I have to preach a sermon or whatever, at least
you
I'm
might bump into somebody, right?
Well, at least I'm going to see some of them, and you know, they'll be standing at a distance, and we're talking about stuff.
That's right. That's right.
It's delight. It's great. It's I really enjoy it, and of course that's my hope actually, is that what will happen through this is that Christian people will actually you know, experience the joy of gathering, and especially here in the West, where, you know, going to church is like, I don't know. But my hope is that after this is all over, people will be like, you know what? It is a true privilege to gather with the people of God on a weekend, and we were going to make sure that we were there. Yeah. Anyway, somebody's asking if you're playing your guitar a lot. Do you have a guitar? You play guitar? That's right. You're a singer.
I do. You want to play? You want me to play one?
No.
We do. We play.
So.
We
I wouldn't say he's increased his playing. No.
Last Sunday, the Easter Sunday, on that Saturday. We were playing the hymns. I was just singing. We were playing the Easter hymns. It was just awesome.
We have about 18 of us that live on the property. We have more. It's about 10 acres, 15. I can't remember.
15 acres. Yeah.
So we don't really see each other a lot either because we keep distance. We have an immediate neighbor who we see. They have two little boys that just treat our home like it's their home. But so we did over on the Easter weekend. We did have a barbecue together and sang hymns, and so that was good. So yeah, we do.
That's good. Yeah. So what's the biggest thing you've learned since being isolated due to the pandemic? Biggest thing you've learned?
I think for me, I have learned to value relationships. I have learned to value that I can be a priest, not just standing in front of people on a Sunday, but wherever I am. I am called to really just connect with people that way. So finding ways of doing that. So relationships for me has stood out as something key. And even going forward, I see myself minimizing a lot of standing before people and actually doing those one-on-ones and just sharing and using this platform right now that we're using even more effectively as a means of reaching. Yeah. So.
Yeah. How about you, Dolly?
For me, I would say I am such a planner, an organizer.
This
I
has been
think
like the
that's.
death. This whole thing has been the death of planners. It's like,
I know.
what I don't know.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, I'm going to sleep, and then
a key
tomorrow.
verse in my life has popped into my life again. It's Proverbs 69. In the heart, a man plans his course, but the Lord determines the steps. Just a big reminder. It's up to God. So, and yeah, relationships. I'm thinking the only way we can interact with people now is by calling. And if I had not built those relationships before, what would we be doing, right?
Yeah,
So,
totally. Yeah. So what are your kids doing to keep busy?
They're still doing some homework. They're keeping their minds going. As much as the term of school ended, they still, once things open, they still have to come back and do exams of some sort. Yeah. So if you sit and do nothing, you'll forget everything, right? So
yeah. Welly, are they watching old, like the last time Liverpool won the title, which was when was that? When was the last time Liverpool won the title? I can't remember. Was it a long time ago?
I love
before they were born,
soccer.
right?
I look for every Liverpool game that I can watch
to
remind me
that
of the good times.
You haven't won the title, and you still won't have won.
It's coming. It's coming.
It's not coming. Okay, Dolly, the most important question that you need to answer is, so for those of you who are on here, we have an open office, and Dolly used to sit kitty corner to me. And whenever I'd go to the office, I break all the rules. Everyone says you're supposed to be quiet, and when people have their headphones on, you're not supposed to talk to them. I actually didn't care about any of that. So I used to talk to Dolly all the time. Admit it, you missed me. Admit it.
I do.
You missed me.
Jeff, I miss
all that time
you.
You were saying to yourself, I can't wait to get out of here. He's so irritating. But now,
you're my brother. I miss you.
Yeah. I am like that annoying little brother that after a while you're like, Hey,
we keep telling our kids the same thing.
Cecilia's agreeing with you. Stop it, Cecilia. Knock it off. That's not true. Not true.
Yeah.
Anyway, God bless you guys. I'm so thankful to see your faces. You know what? Everybody who's watching, can we all just, as soon as we're done here, just as soon as you click off, don't go and look at your other stuff. Can you just say a prayer for this couple and for all the people that they're serving and the pastors that they're serving, and for the people who are in their community who are at great risk for some of the great increased poverty and COVID-19. They're facing challenges that we aren't facing. So if we can all just say a quick prayer to them and ask the Lord's blessing, it would be awesome. And you guys, again, we're so thankful for you. And we hope that you are able to come back very soon, right?
Yes, we are. Hope so. We are praying. We really believe that we are coming this year. You know, unless Christ comes and rapture takes us home, we're coming. We're coming because we know it's God's will for us to be there and to meet family at this time.
Yeah. That's great.
Good.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. God bless you. Thank you so much for being able to figure all this stuff out, and you did better at it than I did, and I'm thankful I did.
Thank you, Jeff.
God bless you.
Thanks for thinking of us.
Thank you so much.
No,
say hello
absolutely.
to Jeannie. Say hello to the rest of the family.
I will, and to your family as well. Okay. Take care.
Thank you.
God bless. See you guys. See you tomorrow night, everybody. Bye-bye.